Hi guys, it's Amy. Welcome to Strength Reversed. Thank you for watching. This is the first installment of the Tarot Spiral series, and I'll link the introduction somewhere. But I've decided to start with the Fool. A couple of people commented, like Mary and Kay said, start with the Fool and then, you know, see what happens, because I wasn't sure what order I was going to do this in. And this is a good... I'm in a Fool space here. I'm jumping off of a cliff and hoping for the best. So I have a few versions of the Fool. I'm not sure what format I want to do these videos in. If I want to talk to you or just show the cards, or a mixture of both. So we'll see. But I have here the Universal Weight, the Robin Wood. This is from the Tarot of the Zirkus Magi, and then this is from the Japarise Tarot. So my process here was I just kind of did a dump in my journal of everything that was in my mind about the Fool. And then later on, I went back and consulted, I think, 78 Degrees of Wisdom, Kitchen Table Tarot, and also Smart Girl's Guide to Tarot, which kind of puts a different spin on things. And, you know, every book pretty much says something relatively similar about the Fool, but anyway. And then I went through each card and just sort of described what I saw and looked for symbolism there. So the first thing I did was I went to my personal tarot dictionary, my encyclopedia that I've kept for years, where I have a new insight about the card. I have a page for each card, that kind of notebook. And I didn't have much written for the Fool. What I had was new beginnings, plunging forward without looking, smiling stupidly. Okay, I'm not sure what the train of thought was there, but it was probably a profound thought when I wrote it. But I think we can all agree that the Fool is about beginnings. It's about starting the journey. Or, I picture the Fool's journey just like I picture the hero's journey, where you have this, this big circle. That's your life. But then on the circle, you have lots of little journeys. And so the Fool is the starting point. But actually, the Fool can really be anywhere on the journey. Anytime that you are taking the first step. It's about taking chances. It's about a certain innocence where you're either not concerned or not aware of the details or of what's going on around you. And I think it's also about trusting the universe. And this is something that's really, I think, an energy that's really difficult to come by, to actually trust wholeheartedly in the universe. So we have this youthful person. They're starting out on their journey. They're kind of not super aware of possible problems or pitfalls, or they just maybe don't even care. And they seem a little bit oblivious. And of course, what pops out at me is the dog, the rose, the bag that they're carrying. And they seem blissfully unaware. This is kind of, for me, ignorance is bliss. And I've said that a couple of times to people, when I hear about gossip or something. Did you hear what so-and-so did about? And it's like, you know what? I'm blissfully unaware. I don't give a crap, okay? So, to me, this awareness can be out of whack, where maybe they should be looking, or it can be what's best when, you don't need to look. I don't need to see some of these details. This is the beginning of the journey, and it's a little bit exciting because anything could happen. You could succeed, you could fail, but you have to have the courage to start the journey to begin with. And this is kind of reminds me, because, I work with 14-year-olds, and this is where I see this energy a lot. The Fool is the 0, so there's lots of potential in this number. It's not really, it's it's nothing, but it has the potential to be, you know, infinite. And so I see it's a little bit frustrating sometimes, this energy, because you want to tell them, no, you know, you won't remember this person next year, or don't do that. And there's, you know, like a teenager, there's just no telling them anything. They just have to experience it for themselves. And that can be a little bit frustrating for other people to watch. You know, like, I know you're going to crash and burn, but okay, you know, you're going to learn either way. So even if you don't succeed the way you wanted to, it's still going to be a total learning experience. And so you can't really call it a failure. They're at the beginning, and they're just getting their first inkling of where they might be going and a direction they might choose. My students are in 8th grade, so they're about to go into high school. And in my district, the high school, there are many different magnet programs in the high schools. A lot of them are, you know, vocational, but there are business magnets and, you know, firefighting magnets and things like that. And they have to make that decision this year. And so you can see this potential. It hasn't begun yet, but they're beginning to decide which cliff they're jumping off of as they go on their way. So there's lots of choices. You know, they could go in any direction, and that's exciting, but it's also a little bit scary. I was thinking about different fools in different decks. This is the Robin Wood, which is very, very much like the Rider-Waite. And this is the Fool in the Tarot of the Xerkes Magi. It's called the Clown. And you can see he's like fallen off the ladder and is kind of floating around in outer space with the dog. And he seems happy to be there. He has his bag. And then here is the Japarides Tarot. And I'm not sure what this is, if it's a person or what it is, but you can see they're on a tightrope. They have no net. They are not carrying a balloon. They're not carrying an umbrella. They're not carrying any of the things that would give them balance. They're just kind of doing it and not worrying about the details. And you can see the ladders have all been sort of pushed away. So they're not really concerned with maybe consequences as much. They're just trusting that it's going to happen. One of the favorite images of the Fool that I've seen was on Kickstarter, and that is the Titanic Tarot. It's this image of this well-dressed woman carrying her little dog. She's obviously wealthy, and she's walking up the gangplank, I don't know what you call them, boarding this ship that she's just trusting that she's a little bit naive, or maybe she doesn't want to respect some of the outcomes that might occur. She's just walking up this ship with complete trust that it's unsinkable and that it's going to get her where she wants to go. And of course, that's not, that wasn't the case. So my son is super into Harry Potter right now. Finally, I've been waiting for this. So we've started reading the book, but the first book, but I started thinking about, if you watch Tet Covens, Allison's channel, she has a really cool style where she presented the Fool, and she had a specific deck, which was, it had celebrities or people from the 90s in it. And she asked, who would you think of as the Fool? And I'm thinking of Luna Lovegood, if you're familiar with the Harry Potter series. She has such complete trust in the way things are. She trusts what is happening inside of her and what her instinct is telling her. She can see things that other people can't see, and she's undeterred by people telling her that she is crazy. They call her Loony Lovegood. And I think sometimes when people have a lot of this energy where they just go and they maybe don't plan and they don't so much worry about the outcome, they just have complete faith in themselves and in the universe, it's really scary to watch, and they might seem kind of crazy. Like, that's crazy to other people. But I just love her because she doesn't give a fuck what other people are thinking. She's just doing her thing, and there's this innocence about her. She doesn't, she knows things are going to turn out somehow. One thing that I really appreciate about the Fool is the Fool's role of not letting us get too big for our britches, kind of pointing out, it's sort of like a farce, pointing out, you know, what's ridiculous about life and about ourselves so that we don't get too big for our britches. And so that, I appreciate that about the Fool. But I think this is probably the most courageous card in the tarot deck. And it's an energy that I think can really get out of whack if you don't, there has to be a fine line, right? I think when it's reversed and you may have either not enough of this energy, and so you're not taking risks and you're kind of in a rut, and maybe not feeling inspired by a whole lot, or not letting yourself feel inspired because it's scary. Or you might be going the other way where there's a certain recklessness and maybe you're not acting like an adult. You know, you have to think about the consequences of what you do and its effect on other people. You can't just do whatever you want whenever you want to do it. So I think the Fool, I think we need to have some of this energy in our lives, but we also need to keep it in check. As I looked deeper into the symbolism, Rachel Pollack is really good at this in 78 Degrees of Wisdom, but as my friend Dee says, the book is a bit dense. And I don't have the new tarot handbook that she wrote, and I know she's written a couple more that I'm interested in getting because there may be less, it's a lot of info. But we have this dog, which she says is like our animal instincts, like just kind of the core of what we are. And we have the experiences in his bag that he carries with him, but that don't control him. And I think that's really important, right? To not let, you know, use what you've learned from your experiences, but not let them take over. And also she says that this is a wand that he's not really using, but he has with him. Like, he has this power with him and the potential for magic. So I think the Fool energy is really necessary in life, but it's also one that we need to keep in balance, right? We can't be willfully ignorant, but we do need to throw caution to the wind once in a while. Okay. I'm going to have to do some splicing and dicing because there was a lot of fits and starts in this video, which that's fine. I am so happy that I got this recorded, done. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I'm going to post it. And anyway, let me know in the comments what the Fool means to you. Do you have any other meanings that are like way different than what I said? Anyway, thanks guys for watching. It was my first try. Maybe they'll get more streamlined in the future. But I appreciate all of your support. I got such nice supportive comments in my introduction video. I really appreciate that. It kind of gave me the courage to push me over the edge of the cliff. All right, thanks guys. See you next time.